So yeah, the point is we will do some transitions between different rules, It's like I create one rule with different rules. So we will pay attention to the Godinhos, Figueiredos in a very traditional way, nothing special and new. So we will try. But the first important thing for me, it's the way to hold the montante is very important. So during 2, 3, 5 minutes, we will do 1 or 2 exercises. The point is, for me, it's very important to start to hold in the montante here, not here. This have a very good rings, but in another moment can be dangerous. You have some smaller rings. Can I have this? One moment, let me. Sometimes when you have the finger here, can be dangerous for you. In the movement, you can see this. And this is hard. So, in my opinion, but this is my opinion, it's important to stay here. But second, it's to learn how to use the montante in this position. Let me a little bit of space. Here is good enough. I'm talking here, cutting here, in this way. Sorry, this is a little bit strange here. I'm talking about this, this movement, and cutting in this way too, This is important. Of course, we will cut in this way when we want. But for the first movement, for be able to move in a narrow space, we need to learn how to move in this way. So the first exercise will be very simple, doing same as yesterday, doing this, this movement and this movement, only this, and try. And after try to do this and this, but not this. What is the reason because I said this? As I said yesterday, probably many of you beat with the kilons in your own body a lot of times, Me too. But the point is, when I am using the montante in this way all the time, this kilon is very close to my head, when I am doing this. If I have a mistake, boom, I beat myself. Includes when I cutting in this way, I can beat myself, and I can beat myself. But if I am able to cut in this way, then it's safety for me, And even the montante usually have a long kilons because the kilons cover us, protect us from many attacks. For example, if I am coming here, then he's protecting me. The length of the kilons sometimes is more or less the same length of your shoulders, so you are protecting. In the description of the manuals, of the old dictionaries of the 17th century, I'm talking in Spain, they are talking about the long kilons, because the montante usually have a long kilons. So the first practice, take a space and do only this, nothing more. This position, and move in this way, maybe coming here, but all the time pay attention to this, but never in this position, and in this position, only this. And after we will start with the first rule. Only for very, very fast information, my point here, we can use the montante as we want. We must to learn how to use the true edge and the false edge. There are different versions to use this. Obviously, this is my version, not the truth, it's my version. But I want to say, for example, you can cut, and sometimes it's better to do different movements. You want to do something more horizontal in the reverse cut. The false edge is very good, And if you want to be a little bit more diagonal, as I said yesterday, or more vertical, not vertical, but more vertical, the use of the true edge is very good. It's much more better, I'm cutting or here, or I'm cutting here. But for me, when I start to teach my people Montante, I always said, use this position all the time do it usual for you, not because it's the only way, What is the reason because I said this? Because when we are doing this all the time, the risk is much more harder. But if we learn how to do this with the false edge, after do this transition from here to here, it's not difficult, And this is the reason because we need to learn how to open the hand, to be flexible with the right hand and with the left hand. Sometimes these commands, So this is important. But I imagine that it's better start with the proper workshop. And we will do some transition to the narrow street, to the medium street, and after to the square, using the rules of Godinho and Figueiredo, and maybe include some part of Alfieri. The first one, we will start, we will move to the left. We imagine we stay in a narrow street, and we have enemies here and enemies there, but the space to move is on the left, you know. So we will start using the using the rule of Godinho. The first one will be the rule of Godinho of narrow street. All of you knows the rule or not? Yes, you know. So the point is, Godinho said about this movement: you are moving to this side, and you are doing this, and after you are doing this, and obviously you must to move with one step longer, another step shorter, because if not, you continues for all eternity in the same point. So we will start thrusting here, and after we will move there, and thrust there, and thrust there, and finish. Only 3 movements, but the point here is, and this is by myself, this is not in the description. I prefer to do this movement in this way, from here, push and come here. In the case of Alfieri, we can be sure, but in the draws, the guy looks like this. And this is good too. But I prefer starting to do this, because this is not risky for my face. If I have in the Alfieris, I have a mistake, I beat with the kilon in my face. So I recommended you start with this, you know, because this is good. But if you prefer to do this, for me, it's okay. So up to you. So the first exercise, I think, will be better stay in lines looking for this wall, you know, because we are a lot. If we are, I'm looking there, you are looking there, it's dangerous, because everybody is moving to that part, you know. I think it's better. So the point is only to do this. Imagine we stay in this part. Imagine this is one wall, this is another wall. So we are thrusting there, moving here, move for the other part, and after move here and prepare for the next step. Okay, let's go. Yeah, first thing, I think that is interesting to remember some points about this. We are talking about rules of some guys who wrote in 1599, Godinho and Figueiredo in 1651. 51, I always forget and say 54, 51, and includes Alfieri, was very close, 1650. Perfect. So I have no brain for the numbers. So I mean that all of them, not all of them, but in the rule of Godinho and in the rule of Figueiredo, talking about the Montante against Montante, all of them said, this is not usual, you know. This is not usual. It's very difficult at that time fighting Montante against Montante. The most of the times they are talking about your self-defense against people, normal people, and the normal people carry dagger or carry rapier, you know, this is the point. So, because there are not a lot of exchange parries or things, there are not information about this. You are stay with the attack all the time. You know, this is important because we must understand that the most of the times, probably you want to scare your opponent, not kill him. I mean, if you are doing chop in someone in a narrow street, probably after you will be dead, you know. You are doing something like chop, probably chop, 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 chop. And probably you are pushing the people because you want to push the people, arrive to a big space, jump around, and after run, you know, for leave. So in this case, I said that the difference between this and this is good. It's not important. For me, I recommended this because it's more safety for your face. If you are in a hurry, you know, and boom, it's much more easy when you are doing this change. But if you are able, perfect. If not, for me, this is more safety. Second thing, about the position of the kilos. It depends. I said, I'm here or here, so the attack will be as I want. This position for me is good, you know, because then you are like a sniper, you know, and when you push with a Montante in a very hard way, parry you is very difficult. Of course, a cut is not impossible, but it's close to impossible with a rapier, and it's possible the thrust, you know. But when you are pushing very, very strength, it's very difficult. So you are scarring the opponent a lot. So the next step will be, as I said, I'm looking for this part because always it's better to practice in the same position. So I said, one thrust. After, you are moving far away. And after, you are moving here. And the next step will be the first rule of Figueiredo. Not the first rule, understand me, the first rule of narrow street. We will cut, and after thrust, you know? Only this. So, 1, 2, 3, and again, 1, 2, 3. Again, or so remember this: one thrust, move, another thrust here, another thrust here. If you prefer to finish here, okay, but right now we will move and cut, and a thrust. Okay, let's go. We must build, everybody come here. So I want, this is the narrow street, some group of people here, and another group of people there, you know? Oh, but all of you goes there and there, 2 lines, there and there. Because all of you need to understand one thing. Goes there or there, up to you. But imagine, this is a very, come here, guys. Come, no, I don't know, I do nothing, only explain you some things. So imagine, this is a very long, narrow street. Finish there, you know, it's very far away, it's impossible. But here, it's close to me, a wonderful square. So my point is, I have some fucking bastards there attacking me with rapier, another fucking bastard there. So first move, I scare you, fuck you. And then I said, fuck you up, and I am bouncing here. And I said, come on guys, and this is my direction, you understand? So my footwork in this moment is, this is nothing only for scary, this is advancing, and this is maybe here, or maybe here, why not, you know? And the next step, it's 1, 2, 3, and I continues attacking, and this is the point. After we will do the rotation, but understand, you need to understand the footwork, because I'm moving all the time in the direction of my salvation, you know? Understand? So next step. The next step is the forbidden from Godinho. It's difficult to do the interpretation of this movement. I have 2 different interpretations with 2 different hands, but one of these is when we finish, right now we will do this, you know? 1, 2, that's the point, because I'm scaring the guy who comes to attack me, I do, fuck you bastard, and after I move to here, you know, that's the point. So let's go. Highly recommendation. Pay attention to the floor, you know, and the sharp points, because it's very easy to clunk. It's very easy. So slowly from here, move, and move. That's the point. Okay, let's go.
Once again, please for the footwork.
For the foot.
Yeah, I would like to see your footwork.
Pam, pam,
Yeah.
pam, 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 pam. So yeah, only for explain the turning and more things, a little bit more things. Some of you have very long handles, and the very long handles sometimes disturbing a little bit. Can I hold this? So this is only my opinion. You know, we are having the preparation to the thrust. For me, it's interesting. This is one possibility. This is very good, of course, as I said, Alfieri. But if you want to do this movement, and this movement is by myself, it's not real for the sources, you can do this. Why not? You can see how my hand comes here, you know? Because when I push, you know, I'm pushing the thrust, when I am changing my hand. In the momentum of the thrust, I am here again. But it's much more comfortable. What is the reason because I said this? Because all of this is a change of movement. So when you are starting in a rigid way, probably you will continue in a rigid way. I said, if I'm moving in this way, then it's like not flexible. But if I'm doing this, I'm very flexible with this. This movement gives me a lot of possibilities. So this is the reason because I said this. And after this, your question about the movement. You can practice, in my opinion, in the case of the Montante, we don't need to do the movement, as I said before, to someone, I don't know, like 1, 2. Yeah, I have a rapier or a long sword. The movement is like 1, 2. This is the idea, you know? 1, 2, this is the idea. But in my opinion, with the Montante, it's not mandatory for many reasons. The first thing is, I'm a rapierist, you are a Montantero, and you are doing this, and I killed you, boom. But probably the next step is chop. So you don't need to protect a lot before, because we are doing 1, 2 for protect the line with equal weapons. But in the case of our conception today of the Montante or Spadone, you know, the big one against the small weapons, we need to do this. And even when we are doing some kind of cut, you know, 1, 2, then it is a disbalance. This 1, 2 is a disbalance, but this is at the same time 1. I'm able to use the strength of my legs for don't have the disbalance, you know? So that's the point, in my opinion, is this. Then we need, in the very narrow space, we are doing 1, not 1, 2. And this is especially important in the case of the reverse with the false sage, because we are doing 2. It's not the momentum, but after we will do this, you know. It's an explanation for this. And happens the same here in the turning, in the spinning. We must to come 1, 2, 3. That's the point, you know. But try to come with the 1 and after 2 and after 3. And probably it will be easier. In a faster position is pa, pam. That's the point, you know. But we need to come here in some moment, not here. You know, this is important. So practice this. 5 minutes more and no more, because if not, we have no time.
One more.
Okay, something like this. Some 1, because you are thrusting the face of the other guy. You know, this is a transitional momentum. 1, and after 2, and after 3. So the next step, remember that what we are in the narrow street, so we are pushing the people there, we are with advancing, no advance, 1 cut, another cut, 1 thrust, and if you continue in this way, it's very bad for our brain. So the spinning is in the other direction. So right now we will do only half rule, the legal rule of Godinho, you know, only this. And we will start, maybe this is a little bit bigger, so we can do the rule of narrow street of Figueiredo, the complex rule. Because the simple rule makes relative sense. I don't believe too much in this, of course. But the next step will be, after the spinning, you know, 1, 2, 3, we will scurry again to these guys, and then we will start to moving 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But slowly, we will step by step, you know, it's, remember, finish the spinning here, the half rule of Godinho, and then 1, false sage, this is important, remember that this is a narrow street, and then this is a false attack, because my real attack looks here, turn and attack there, you know? So, how many movements? It's 1, the Godinho, and 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 6 movements. Okay, let's go. You forget the other part and start with this only. One group there, another group there. Go there and 2 parts, only for explain this part. This is, stay here in a bunch, I said, because it's more easy to see, and I stay here in a bunch. The point is, you know, stay there. Usually, to learn all these rules is a long time, but the idea of this is connecting rules, you know? Connecting, after we will talk about this, because it's, actually this exercise can be bullshit, but it's interesting to know how to connect the orthodoxical rules. After you need to use the Montante, you need to be free, you know, not to use a rule. The rule is a collection of movements, and it's very interesting how to move the body for don't beat with your kilons, don't beat in the floor, these kind of things. But anyway, in this case, we are doing the traditional, the orthodoxical. So the point is, we must understand some things. The first is, in this rule, I am cutting, boop, boom, and after go like, wham, this is the point, you know. I'm coming here, but I'm attacking you, and after attacking you, I'm pushing the people again. So the third is a false attack, it's not true. This is the reason, because I'm not finished here. I'm doing like, whap, whap, you know, that's the point. More things. The idea of the false age. This is a very narrow street, you know. So exaggerate narrow street, can be more exaggerate. In my opinion, it's better to training with exaggerate forms, because after you can move better. So the idea of the reverse, I'm coming here, and then the reverse coming with my hip at the same time, because you can see how then it's close to my body and it's not in the wall. If I doing this, 1, 2, the point is stopping in the wall. So I pay attention to this movement, to close this to my body. And then it's very important this position, because if I do in this, I stopping with my kilon, you know? So for me, it's very important the position of the hands. And it's not a real cut. I don't need to be very powerful with the cut, because it's only for scary. So I can do this. It's enough, only with the point in the face of your opponent, you know? So this is the idea. So try to do this very close to your body. And it's very important the combination of the movements. Don't walk in the same way here. Don't walk in the same way here, because if I doing this, you know, first with my leg, the next is the montante in the wall. We must be very precise with the cut, you know, it's at the same time and in the profile. And if you want to do this, this always helps you to control it, you know. Sometimes go up, down is good. So try a little bit, and after, let's go to the next step. So everybody knows how to do this, because it's important, you know. I mean, many people, I will use the street again, you know. Many people holding the sword all the time in the hammer style. So use the false edge is strange. I said this because in the case of the rule of Figueredo, he said that you must stop in front of your face. So if you want to have your hands in front of your face, this use of the false edge is not possible. Or maybe you are here, but this is not very good, you know, in the case of the Montante, it's not very comfortable. So in my opinion, the correct interpretation of this is this, but maybe can be more interpretations, but I think not. So we must to cut from this position, not from this position. If not, it's so difficult. We can cut in this way. Of course, with the true edge, I can do this, you know. For me, we can be free to move in all the points, but some rules are much more better. You want to be very close to you with the movement, is better in this way, because here is safety for you, you know. Here it's a little bit bigger. You need to do the movements a little bit bigger, and in this case it's bad for us because this is very narrow. I understand that in the case of Figueredo, the simple rule can work in a narrow street. The complex rule, maybe the street is a little bit more broad, you know, not too much, because if not, it's much more easy. It's easier, for example, if I try to be fast, probably I'm doing one and clunk, or, you know, it's very easy. So in this case, pay attention in this, again in this, to be close to you, and after this, you know. But let's go to the next rule. Yeah? So from here, the street is a little bit broad for us, you know. We can start to see the light in the end of the tunnel. So we will arrive to one part a little bit more broad. So we will do the rule of Godinho of the half street. And I will use my interpretation, of course, because it's the interpretation I know. So we will do this thrust, and from here we will cut and thrust, and with the reverse cut and thrust, and cut and thrust. Okay, you know why is the reason for this rule. Okay, this is a medium street. It's not a broad street, so you need to cover yourself with the walls. It's not possible. Imagine that these are the lines. Again, it's too much exaggerate because I need something bigger, but for the demonstration is good, you know. Leave me a little bit of space here. Now go there. So imagine that I have people attacking me. Yeah, better. I will use, remember that we was doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will go there in this position because the wall, how to explain? The wall is not covering myself in this way, you know? You are the wall. It's not this idea, you know? It's the idea of I'm here, so nobody can come here. This is the important thing. Then, when I finish here, pa-pam, then I can cut, and then this is the other wall. If I am doing something horizontal, clunk, with the wall. But if I am doing something diagonal, cutting with the point in the face of my opponent, but not for cut, probably it's for push the guy outside, you know, then I am doing this, and I'm covering all the space with this cut, you know, pam, and then I doing this because I have two risks here. The first and more important is clunk, and then today I destroyed the floor, and it's very bad for the, but in the real situation it's clunk, and chop, 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 chop. This is the first risky, and this is the reason because I'm doing this, you know? Second one, it's holding the montante, because if I doing this, then I beat with the killing in my own body. So I doing this cut. Look, the position of my hand is this, not this, you know? So from here to here, I come in doing a thrust, and again, I say, be careful guys, and again I will cut with the false edge. Look, it's not a real cut. Why I'm doing this? Because if I'm cutting with the true edge, then I need more space for the floor or for the wall. But if I cut in here, I can do exactly the same, you know, and I finish here. All of you catch the idea? Okay, try.
Once again for the booklet.
Okay, I'm saying, remember, was the palm, palm, and then this and this, you know, I'm here. And then I'm moving a little bit here, you know, the idea is from the center, I will move here, prepare my attack. And then I will attack in this position, one thrust, and again, one cut, one thrust, and again, one and two, and we will finish here, okay? Let's go. So the point is, this is too big, you know, this is too big, of course, but maybe you can understand better the feel of the rule. As I said, these are a lot of rules, so if we know the rule is good, but we must understand more or less why, you know. In this case, this is not exactly a medium street. Well, it isn't a medium street today, but this is important. Remember that we will finish, we are walking in this way, you know, and we will finish here with a thrust. But the thrust comes to the middle, more or less, for scary the people, but my foot goes there, pa, pam, and I take time here. I will take time, I need time to prepare my body, you know? So my point is from here to here, and this is I wait a fraction of a second, but I wait, because I want to scare you with a cut. And then I cut in you, and then I twist in my body, and I scare you with a thrust, you know? And my thrust goes to the middle, but my body goes to the side. I'm doing this, pa-pan, and I take another moment for prepare this cut. And then I'm doing the same. So it means something like this. This thrust, I'm preparing myself. This is the wall protecting me. I cut in you, then I am thrusting you, I'm come close to the other wall. I'm preparing myself for the same. Then I cutting, and I doing exactly the same all the time. I can stay here for all eternity, you know, moving and moving and moving. But this is the idea. I'm going close to the walls for protect myself. Obviously not here, because if not, my montante stop it here. But at least here, for no space for the people surrounding me. We finished in the same point of yesterday. After this, we can check another way, because we can arrive here, and then we can do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this is a little bit bigger, and then we can connect it with more things, and after go to a big space and the square. But I think it's time. So thank you very much.